Cam Zanini with a long look.
Get it!
No way!
Hey everyone, I'm Cam Zanini. I'm from Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, and this is my first in the bag with True North Disc Golf. So I'll start with my putters because every in the bag I've seen starts with putters, so I might as well do the same. My putting putters are two D-line P2s. I've recently switched to them. I like them a bit more for the winter conditions, a little bit more tacky and a little bit straighter in flight for my slight hyzer putt. And they're really nice and shapeable. I can put it on a different angle and I know it's going to hold that and finish nice and kind of neutral. Next isn't really a throwing putter. It's more of a mid-range. It's a Star Rat. I go to it a lot more for slight understability coming into the green, or a nice gentle sidearm. I can kind of give a nice follow through on that little bit of an angle, and it's going to come out nice and flat into the fairway. Star AVR driver. This is kind of a newer addition to the bag. I've had a Star Rhino in there for a while, but this kind of overtook that spot. Same type of flight, nice and overstability, a little bit more shapeable and a little bit more glide, so I can actually throw it like a putter and it's not like a 100-foot throw. Next are my kind of in-between discs, my approach discs. I lean on the Cayman. This blue one, a little bit more stable. I can really lean into it, and I know it's going to finish overstable. Backhand or sidearm, any different angle, I know it's going to be reliable. Next, Protostar Cayman. This is a little bit more beat in, and I know I can get a bit better shape out of it. So if I need more of a slight fade out, I can trust this disc. Next, mid-ranges. One disc, not really popular, and I don't really know why. Champion Shark 3. More comfortable in my hand, it's beadless, but it flies the same as a Rock 3. I like it better because, again, it's more comfortable in my hand. Nice and stable right out of the box, and they're a really, really nice, controllable mid-range. I'd recommend trying one if you haven't. Tour Series Rock 3. These are newer to the bag. I got to give a shout out to someone who I'm not going to name because in his in the bag he didn't shout me out for his disc I got him onto. So yeah, but these are nice, right out of the box, nice and straight. This one I haven't really thrown much, so it's got a bit of stability at the end of it. But this one I've worked in, and a little bit of flip up to flat. If I put enough behind it, it's going to stay nice and flat and straight. And then, this is interesting. P-Line MD3. This does not fly like an MD3. Very understable. I can put it out high on an angle like this. It'll flip to flat, and then late turn to the right. So if I need to come in nice and soft on a green, but I don't want to throw it low and hard and have it slide all over the place, this is a great one for it. Also great here at Christie, getting out of the woods, because I find myself in there quite a lot.
Going for the forehand. And
Overstable. Oh no.
Oh no, and that's going to kick way downhill.
So I can give it a nice toss just like that. It'll turn over to the right and get back in the fairway for me, hopefully. Next, I'll go to my Ferry Drivers. So these are all kind of newer. I got two T-Bird 3s. This Metal Flake T-Bird 3 is my more stable of the two. Kind of more neutral. I can really rip on it on that slight hyzer angle. It's going to hold that angle. In the wind, it'll flip up a little bit, but I know this will actually fade out if there's no wind. Star T-Bird 3. This is my kind of more neutral fairway driver. slight hyzer angle, flip to flat, straight through the gap. Or I can rip it flat and get a nice gentle turnover as well. Start TL3. This is one I didn't really expect to get in my bag. My friend Chanel actually gave this disc to me, so it's 166 grams. And that slight hyzer angle with my T-Bird 3s will flip and kind of drift to the right just a little bit. So I have stable, straight, and slightly understable in my bag. I like to kind of make all my discs have that capability, just because I have the same shot for every different mold and every different distance in my bag. Next are my Firebirds. I carry 2 of them. This star one isn't really a Firebird anymore. It's kind of like an FD3 that doesn't really glide as much. But it's good for a nice kind of check hyzer or more of a shapeable sidearm, more of a neutral flex than a Firebird would normally have. You guys seen this one all over the place at provincials. This is my Luster Champion Firebird. Go to it a lot for my sidearm. This is the one I threw at Chicopee on the short little dinky hole, and it went in the water both times.
That's gonna go in the water too.
You think so? I think
Yeah,
that
I
might
do.
be good.
Yeah. Cam is trying to find that window, but that might be early in a tree in the water probably.
Yes, it is.
But I still love it. It's from the provincials at Peterborough, but I never really thought I'd like Luster Firebirds, but this one's really, really nice. It's right in between a normal Champion Firebird and a Sexton Firebird for me. So I still have the shapeability, but I always know it's going to come back and be overstable. Now to my favorite Ferry driver of all time, Thunderbird. I carry 3. This is a newer one. Again, thank you to the guy I'm not going to name. He told me to put this in the bag, and it's a really, really nice, stable Thunderbird out of the box. I can really rip on it flat. It's going to fly flat with a nice, gentle overstability at the end. Glow Champion Thunderbird. This is probably the one I use the most. Very, very neutral. If I throw it flat, it kind of drifts a little bit to the right, but it'll always come back to the left. Or power hyzer flip to flat in the woods. These are great. I got to get more of these. So if you have one laying around, I'm your guy. And then my baby. It's a 3-time Thunderbird. This is my first one I ever got. This does not fly like a Thunderbird. This flies like the best Valkyrie of all time. Slight hyzer, power it, flat, flip over to the right, and just hold that the whole way. I've never been able to find one that flies like this, so I don't throw this anywhere around water or schnarb or anything I can lose it because it's the best color in the world. So that's staying in the fairway. Now I'll go to my control drivers. I kind of basically put control drivers in that slower double-digit speed driver. So this is a Star SL. I think it's discontinued. It's a 10-speed and it's 166 grams. And this is my roller disc. Or at Christie here, hole 17 from the long tees, perfect flight. Flip up to flat and just fade down the hill to the right. In the Summer Sizzler last year, I put this in the circle both times. Missed the putt both times, that's not important. But this has the best flight for that type of shot shape, or a really, really good power low roller. Now to these two that I don't see a lot of, but if you ask James Duong, these are really, really good. Star Maxes. This whiter one obviously is more newer, nice and stable, but it's not crazy overstable like the flight number suggests. I can put out a slight flex and I know it's going to finish overstable, but it's also very, very shapeable, or low flat lines that's going to get a nice overstable skip. This is an older Star Max. It's got a bit of Chris Oz love on it, so you know it's going to have some magic in it. This does not fly like a Max. I can throw this flat for a sidearm, it'll turn by itself and get a nice flex shot out of it. Or a low power hyzer flip to flat, back to overstable in the fairway. I use these more for controlled distance. I don't really use these a lot to go 400 feet because they really don't. But these are good, nice placement discs in the fairway. And then the newest disc in the bag, literally put it in like 5 days ago. Champion Wraith. I didn't really need it, but I looked at the store and it's like this beautiful pearly kind of smoky swirl in it, and I couldn't put it down. But it's got a really nice flight. It's more flatter, so it's got a bit more overstability to it than a normal Wraith would. And I'm liking it a lot for my sidearms. A little bit less stable than a destroyer, but still the same type of shot shape. So it comes in a little bit softer than a destroyer. Definitely check these out. And now I'll go to my distance drivers. These are the guys that get the job done most of the time. I'll go with the oddball. Enigma. These are great. Funny story with this, actually. I picked this up at Union at lunchtime. First throw I threw with it was hole 1, and it had the perfect distance hyzer flip to flex shot line. And I think I threw it about 5 more times during that round. I trusted it every time. So this got me halfway down the fairway, hole 18 at Union, and I bought it like 2 hours before that. So definitely check these out. These are a really, really far flying disc. And then my destroyers, carry 3 of them. This you probably see at the Lady Gaga coverage on hole 7, I think it is. After I took my nice, terrible score on the hole before, I got the only birdie of the day on that hole with this one. This is a nice, stable destroyer, but in a wind I can flip it up to flat, and I know it's going to stay flat. It's not going to turn over. It's going to stay flat and come back to the left for me. Purple Haze, or my Macbeth destroyer, if you will. As soon as I bought this in Arizona, I met Paul Macbeth for the first time and I had him sign it, and then I'm like, I can't throw it now. Like, what do I do? So I hung on my wall for a while, and I'm like, I gotta see how this flies. And it's been the bag ever since. Nice, flip up to flat, right through the gap, nice and glidey. I can turn it over if I need to get more distance, but it's just a nice controllable hyzer flip to flat, through a gap, or in the middle of the fairway. And then my old gummy champion destroyer. Nicknamed Kistner, because one of my good buddies from Western New York, Mark Kistner, found it. Has a little turtle stamp on it. I don't know if you guys can see that. But that's his little signature that he does on his discs. And I figured I might as well nickname it for him. But it's a really interesting flight. Sidearm, flat, stays flat. Doesn't turn, doesn't really fade too much. It stays flat. A little bit to the right, obviously, because it's a destroyer. But big distance line, I can really rip on it. Bit of a hyzer, and it'll turn and kind of hold that gentle flex longer than other destroyers will. Not as much as the Enigma, but it's next step up in stability. So if there's not a lot of wind, I know I can trust this to do the same exact flight. And that's everything in the bag. So I'm Cam Zanini. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys out there next season.